Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's information session on the TDSB specialized programs. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we get underway, I'd like to read our land acknowledgement. Thank you. We acknowledge we are hosted on the lands of the Mississaugas of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Wendat. We also recognize the enduring presence of all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ryan Bird. I'm our Executive Officer of Communications and Public Affairs here at the TDSB. We'll be taking you through this evening's presentation. Really appreciate you being here with us. If you would benefit just off the top from interpretation, click on the closed captions at the top of your screen to turn them on. You'll then be able to choose your caption language, including Arabic, Chinese, Filipino, French, Persian, Russian, Spanish, Urdu, and Vietnamese. The closed captions are generated by AI, though, so just want to make sure, as always is the case, some errors may be made in the generation of these captions, but obviously wanted to provide that interpretation to provide as much support as we can to our parent community. As mentioned, the webinar is being recorded and will be available afterwards on the TDSB website. We will share the sites where it will be found at the end of our webinar. This information session designed to support applicants learning more about the application process for specialized leadership programs and to provide strategies for writing a leadership-focused reflection piece. A few more notes off the top. Participants invited to add questions to the Q&A by clicking on the Q&A button at the top of your screen. There's about 10 of us online right now, so we'll be working to respond to as many of your questions as possible related to the application process. We won't be able to respond to very school-specific questions this evening. Those are best addressed to the school specifically. Some questions will be responded to directly in the Q&A, and that'll show up as text. Others may be answered out loud as part of the presentation. Again, all in hopes of answering as many of your questions as possible. Hundreds of you, 10 of us, so we will be working hard to get to all of them. To keep the Q&A manageable, please post your question a single time after the related portion of the agenda is complete, and then that will allow staff to answer more questions. A copy of the relevant questions and answers, including some that we are not able to answer tonight, will be added to the Q&A that is already posted on the specialized program website, which is a great resource, along with a recording of this meeting for those that want to go back and listen, or for others that might not have been able to make it. With that said, let's get right into it. I'd like to introduce centrally assigned Principal Reiko Fuentes to begin our presentation as we move through this evening's agenda. Reiko, I should just say that we are joined, before we introduce you, joined by a number of people that you see there on the screen. Too many to individually introduce, but whether it be our Associate Director, Louise Sarisco, Executive Superintendent Diana Panagiotopoulos, from our central staff, our guidance and career staff, our central program admin office. There are a lot of staff here trying to answer as many questions as we can this evening. I will stop talking and now throw it over to you, Reiko, to get us into our presentation.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ryan. And thank you folks for joining us this evening, or late this afternoon, for us to talk a little bit about leadership programs. If we could move to the next slide, please. So again, the purpose of the presentation is to provide you with an overview of the new application process, specifically for specialized leadership programs. As students and their parents, guardians, and caregivers begin to explore program options, it can't be emphasized enough that students themselves are key to being motivated and interested in attending these schools and programs. Specific questions about the individual schools and programs should be addressed to the schools themselves. Hopefully you've been able to attend the open houses that have been taking place, but again, we will be able to answer questions that are more general to the application process. A couple of important things to note, though. If a student is admitted to a specialized program and they opt to not continue in the program, they will be expected to return to their designated school by address of their home local school. Transportation is the responsibility of the applicant. So before applying to a school, I would strongly recommend that you take a trip on the TTC and try making sure that you arrive at the school via public transportation. All of our specialized programs are only available in person. If you require any support with your application or don't have access to the necessary technology, please, you're encouraged to contact your child's current TDSB school for support. Next slide, please. So the gateway to finding all of the information that we're going to be speaking about today in this information session is through the Find Your School link on the TDSB homepage. So right from tdsb.on.ca in the center is that Find Your School icon. Next slide, please. So when you land on the Find Your School page, there's a couple of key places of information that you'll be looking for. In the yellow box, you'll find your home school by address. So again, you enter in your address to find out what your designated middle school or secondary school is. There's also a link to the Central Program Admissions Office and that website where all the application timelines and links can be found to this and to other applications. You can connect directly to the information about specialized programs, and there is also a link to find out more information about out-of-area admissions. Next slide, please. Sorry. Thank you. So at the secondary level, there are 4 different types of programs that are available in the TDSB for learners from across the system. Each offer unique opportunities and focus on a variety of areas. Today, we're going to be spending our time focusing on leadership programs. On the home website for specialized programs, this is where you will actually find the link to the application. Where there is that blue rectangle and the exclamation point. Right now, where the dates are listed, the link to the application will be hosted here starting on the morning of Monday, November the 24th. Information about the open houses was all posted on that Google Calendar, and the application dates and information about acceptances and offers will all be posted on that Google Calendar as well. So it's a helpful site to go to, and recommend that if you have not been there yet, that you do. There are several sub-menu pages that are listed there that have important information about some of the demonstrations of knowledge and skills. There's a link to the report card benchmark calculator and the additional resources website where the copy of this video and the slides from today will be posted shortly. Next slide, please. And here is that additional resources website. So again, we have several videos, one providing an overview of specialized programs, a general application process video, and the video already about out-of-area admissions and secondary schools without a boundary. They are available, as well as the extensive specialized program Q&A document, where again, questions from tonight will be added to that document. It's got a great feature where if you use Control F and search for keywords, you can look for answers and questions that you may have. There are other videos and support documentation that are there. Next slide, please. So applicant eligibility. There are a few eligibility requirements that are associated with this application for specialized programs. Applicants must meet the age, residency, citizenship requirements outlined by the TDSB. If your child is already a TDSB student, they have already met this eligibility threshold. Additionally, a parent and caregiver must be actively residing in Ontario at the time of the application. The address that is included in the application must be the one where the family actively currently lives. If you have a property in Toronto and there are tenants living in that property, the address cannot be used as part of the application, and the address of another family member cannot be used. So it's imperative that the address that's used in the application is where you are currently and actively residing. Applicants residing in Toronto but attending a school outside of Toronto will be required to show proof of active residency at the address that was provided. And it's also important to note at the secondary level, applicants must also meet a report card benchmark in order to be considered an eligible applicant. Next slide, please. So that benchmark that I was just speaking about, this is looking at your June 2025 report card. And on the data from the report card, there can be no more than 2 marks below 70% or the provincial standard in the subject areas that are listed on the slide. So this includes the language mark, math, science and technology, geography, history. The average of the 4 strands of French is counted as a mark for French. The average of the 4 strands of the arts is counted as the mark for the arts, and the average of the 2 strands of health and physical education are counted as the mark for health and physical education. So there are 8 areas. And we will be looking at the June report card mark. If any of these subject areas were not reported on in June, we will go back to look at the mark that was issued in February, earlier in the year. So for students who are currently in grade 8 and they are applying for grade 9, this will be based on your grade 7 report card achievement. For students that are now in grade 9 applying for grade 10 entry, this will be based on your grade 8 report card achievement. And for the very few programs, there are no leadership programs that have grade 11 entry where students are currently in grade 10. This benchmark is based on grade 9 courses and credits that were taken and completed last year. Next slide, please. So when applying to TDSB specialized programs, each applicant can select one type of program for their application. I've already mentioned there are 4 types of arts, leadership, math, science, and technology, and international baccalaureate. And applicants will list their primary school choice, their primary program choice. The image that's here is actually taken from the application itself. You can choose your primary choice, and you have the option of including an alternate program choice. And again, that alternate program must be of the same program type. So in the example on the screen, our applicant's primary choice is the Athletic Leadership Program at Birchmount Park Collegiate Institute, and their alternate school choice is the Leadership Program at R.H. King Academy. It's important to recognize that each of the 3 leadership programs have a very different focus or emphasis, and that geographically they are very spread out across the city. Not all applicants may wish to include an alternate choice, and this should only be done when the specific focus of the 2 programs are appropriate for the applicant. For more information about some of these specific programs and the demonstration of knowledge and skills and the other variety of programs that are offered in the TDSB, you can watch video 1 in the series on the Additional Resources website, the overview of TDSB specialized programs. Next slide, please. So if an applicant is opting to include an alternate program option, it's important to note that alternate choices will only be considered after all primary applications for that program from the City of Toronto have been considered. So in the example that was on the last slide, R.H. King Academy was included as an alternate choice. That applicant will only be considered for R.H. King after all of the folks who chose R.H. King as their primary choice are considered and seated, if eligible. If an applicant is accepted to their primary choice school, so in this example from the last slide was Birchmount Park, they will not be considered for their alternate choice. But if the applicant is offered a spot in their alternate choice, so again, in this case, R.H. King Academy, they would remain on their wait list for their primary school choice, Birchmount Park. If the applicant was happy with their placement in their alternate choice, they should ask to be removed from the wait list for their primary school choice. Next slide, please. So what you need to apply. So before heading into the application, you'll need to be prepared to provide some information. Some of it you'll have at your fingertips, the student's legal name, their date of birth, and gender. Although I will jokingly say sometimes we do get a parent's date of birth in the application. So again, it's your child's date of birth, your primary home address, again, so the address where you are currently residing. You must have the name of your child's current school and grade. Well, this is whether you're in the TDSB or not. And for TDSB students, you will need to know the TDSB student number. This is a 9-digit number and it starts with a 3. If you're not sure what your child's student number is, or if your student is not sure what their student number is, please contact your current school and they will provide this number to you. You need to go into the application knowing your type of program, your primary program of choice, and the alternate choice if there is one being included. And you'll be asked to provide all of the contact information for the parent, legal guardian, or caregiver. Entering in this email address is very important. It's important that it is the accurate email address. Don't guess. Make sure that you have the correct email address because the future communication about offers of placement will all be sent to the email that you put into the application. Next slide, please. Other things that you may need to include in your application. So applicants who were not students with the TDSB in June 2025 will be required to upload a copy of their report card or report cards from the school year last year, 2024-25. Again, we need to see the achievement data from both February and June. In most cases, this is all included on the June report card, but if your report card in June does not show the earlier term's report card work, the second copy of the report card would be required. If your report card is in an alternate format, please upload it as is. If necessary, someone from the Central Program Admissions Office will reach out to you. If you do not have a report card from 2024-25, you have an opportunity to provide some context and reason. So on the slide itself, there's a checkbox there. So check if you do not have report cards from the 24-25 school year, and instead you'll be asked to provide, again, that brief explanation. Your application will still be considered. A couple of common reasons why an applicant might not have a report card is that they're currently being homeschooled. There isn't a report card there, or they may have arrived from another country where schooling was not available to them last year. So there are some reasons, and of course the applications will still be considered, but that explanation is provided instead of the report card data itself. Next slide, please. In the application, you will also have the opportunity to request learning-related accommodations that are reflected in your child's current IEP or individual education plan. In the application, there's a list of the accommodations that are available based on the format of the in-person demonstration of knowledge and skills, such as extra time for processing, computer options, large print paper assessment versions, a smaller quiet space classroom, noise canceling headphones, not connected to any source of music, stretch at seat or prompts to return to attention, speech to text software, or typing options. Students who are TDSB students, we will be able to access your individual education plans directly, and non-TDSB applicants will be asked to bring hard copies of their IEP to the in-person session. And where possible, the Central Program Admissions Office will reach out to applicants prior to make sure that we do have accommodations that are appropriate in place. Next slide, please. There are also learning-related supports that are available for multilingual language learners. So new arrivals for whom English is not a first language, who are currently receiving supports in their schools, can request learning-related supports on the in-person assessment. This would include the use of an L1 to English translating dictionary, so a paper book format, not an electronic translator, and the allocation of additional time. The request for this can be made in the application. And the applicant will need to bring their own translating dictionary, again, a paper or book version, to the assessment, and it will need to be reviewed by a staff member before the assessment. Again, if there are questions after the submission of your application regarding these supports or accommodations, you can reach out to the Central Program Admissions Office. Next slide, please. So once you are applying to specialized programs, the application can be saved along the way. However, there is no reminder to come back and complete and submit the application before the deadline. So be sure that you remember to finish your application if you save it, but are not able to submit it at that sitting. Once you submit your application, the application cannot be changed. It's been submitted and you no longer have editing abilities. There is a video tutorial available on the admissions and application website, walking you through the different steps. Sorry, I should say that there is a step-by-step set of instructions, and there will be a video tutorial that will be posted shortly, walking you through the different steps of the application. Again, hopefully, as we are just wrapping up the open houses for specialized programs, you've had the opportunity to visit open houses to help finalize your decision-making around program choices. The application closes on Friday, December the 12th at 12 noon. The application link will be taken down at that time, but no further submissions will be received centrally after 12 noon on Friday, December the 12th. The application is not a first come, first serve application. All eligible submissions that are received by the deadline will be considered. Having said that, if you know what your application is going to be, please don't wait till the last minute. You can work your way through this application to make sure that it is submitted in a timely fashion, but you don't need to do it on Monday morning. You do have until Friday, December the 12th. An important thing to note is that after you submit your application, you will receive an email notification. It's a submission confirmation. There'll be a lot of important and helpful information in that email, so please watch for it. It's also important to watch for it to make sure that it is not going into your junk mail or your spam folders. You want to make sure that you recognize it as a favorite or someone that you know. It's a no reply PowerSchool email address to make sure that all your future communication will arrive safely in your inbox. Next slide, please. So as we go through the seating criteria, so how applicants will be seated in our specialized programs, we're no longer seating applicants through interest and based on the lottery. Applicants will be selected and seated in programs based on the strength of their application. The report card achievement from selected subjects from 2024-25 will make up 30% of the applicant score. And the evaluation of your in-person demonstration of knowledge and skills will make up the remaining 70% of your applicant score. And again, more detailed information can be found on the website listed, the Academic Achievement and Demonstration of Knowledge and Skills website. Next slide, please. So when it comes to the report card marks that will make up that 30% of your applicant score. So we had the benchmark that determined eligibility where no more than 2 marks could be below 70. We've passed the benchmark. We're now determining your applicant score for consideration in our programs. The leadership programs at Ursula Franklin Academy and R.H. King Academy will take the average of language, math, science and technology, geography, and history. So those 5 marks from grade 7, again, looking at June, unless June is not available, sometimes geography and history are not both assessed in June. So we would go back to report 1 in February if that was the case. That average will make up 30% of the applicant score. Next slide, please. For the athletic leadership program at Birchmount Park Collegiate Institute, different marks are considered as there is a focus on health and physical education in the athletic leadership program. And that 30% of the applicant score will be based on the average of language, physical education, and health education. Again, working with the June report card mark unless it's not available, and then going back to term 1. Next slide, please. So what we're going to be speaking about more has to do with the demonstration of knowledge and skills for the leadership programs, and this is for all 3 of the programs. The in-person session will take place on Monday, December the 15th, 2025. It will run from 4:30 to 5:30, and applicants will be expected to write at their primary choice leadership program school location. It will be a 60-minute assessment. There'll be 2 questions, both requiring a written response. Questions will be centered around students' personal experiences and opinions around leadership qualities and civic mindedness. And each of the questions will be assessed by 3 qualified teachers following an assessment rubric that has been established for the evaluation. I should point out, doors will open at each of the schools at 3:30. Applicants should not show up before 3:30, and there will not be a space for family members to wait within the building during the assessment period. Next slide, please. So you may want to take a picture of this or come back to the slides when they're posted on the website, what to bring. And this will be in the submission confirmation email. You'll need to bring some writing tools. And you can bring a ruler if that's going to help you. You'll need to bring your current student card showing your photograph and your first and last name. If your school has not generated a student card, you can bring another piece of identification that has a photo and your first and last name. You can also reach out to your current TDSB school for support with this. Applicants can bring a bottle of water with them to their desk. Non-TDSB applicants, again, who have requested learning-related accommodations, are to bring a hard copy of their current individual education plan. Multilingual language learners who, again, have requested support can bring their hard copy translation dictionary. Again, you'll need to present it to have it looked at before the beginning of the written assessment. And you'll want to bring a bag for your personal belongings, and that will include your phone, watches, and any other personal items. All items will be left at the front of the room. Students' belongings will not be allowed at their desks. So again, having something to put those items in. You can't keep your phone in your back pocket. And please note that the TDSB is not responsible for lost or stolen items. We would recommend that you leave your valuables at home. Next slide, please. So all of this information that I have just provided, talking about the demonstration of knowledge and skills for the leadership programs and all other programs, can be found on the Academic Achievement and Demonstration of Knowledge and Skills websites. And again, that information will be provided in your submission confirmation email. Next slide, please. So the selection and the seating process will occur centrally by the Central Program Admissions Office, and communication will come via email from that PowerSchool email address on February the 11th. Again, same address as your submission confirmation email. In the results email that comes on February the 11th, there will be a unique link that shows either offers or positions on wait lists. This link remains active, so you can continue to check it over time until wait lists expire on the 25th of February. Please do not contact schools directly for selection results. Again, offers that do come on the 11th of February will expire on February the 17th at 4 p.m. If you do not decline or accept an offer by that time, the offer will be rescinded. Note, you can later decline an offer if you accept it, but again, we hope that you're only accepting an offer if you are truly interested and committed to attending. Should you change your mind and decide that you do not wish to attend a program where you have accepted a space, please let your current school know in writing or by email as soon as possible, or the Central Program Admissions Office, so that that seat can be given to the next student on the wait list. Where seats are available, additional offers will be made on the 18th of February and again on the 25th of February. After February the 25th, there will be no further central offers. Waitlists will expire as schools are entering into their staffing process in early March. And all of these dates can be found on the application and admissions website. Next slide, please. And a few last notes. In the seating of specialized programs, there is no sibling priority. So a sibling already at the school does not impact the odds or the chances of an applicant being seated. Students who are attending an elementary specialized program are not given any priority for secondary programs. There is no priority for local applicants, so those who live within the catchment area for a school that has a regular program and offers a specialized program. And in fact, it's important that it's recognized that students who live in the designated area for a school that offers a specialized program must still apply through this process if they wish to participate in the program. This also extends to students who are already attending the school in grade 9, hoping to enter the program in grade 10. They must go through this application process as a grade 9 applicant for grade 10. Next slide, please. And there we are. So we have an opportunity. Brian, back to you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. We will open it up to questions based on that so far. Again, if you'd like to ask a question, you can enter it in through the Q&A feature at the top of your screen. We will start out with some, and then we'll try to get to a number of them right now, and then we'll go back into a presentation, and then there will be an opportunity for a longer period of questions at the end. First up, if my child applies to a specialized program, can they still apply to a school through the out-of-area admissions process? Rachel, could you speak to that one?
Absolutely. So yes, absolutely. Students who are applying for a specialized program, you're not going to hear the results, as I've just mentioned, until February. The out-of-area admissions process, which is also the process for secondary schools without a boundary. So Central Technical School, Central Toronto Academy, Danforth Collegiate, Northern Secondary School, and Western Technical Commercial School. That application in January, you are still all able to apply if you're looking to attend a school that is accepting applications for out-of-area admissions. And those offers will come on the same day, February the 11th. So you will know all of your options that day. And if you're offered a seat in both the specialized program and out-of-area admissions, you have to choose one to accept and you need to decline the other.
Okay, that's great. A couple of IEP questions. You did
Sure.
mention this off the top. So obviously, students with an IEP can apply to a specialized program, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Not only will they receive accommodations in a specialized program, so seated in the program accommodations will be honored in an IEP. And as I mentioned, those accommodations will also be provided for the appropriate accommodations for the type of assessment that we're having on the in-person demonstration of knowledge and skills.
So that tech will be available. A tech can be like as one of the accommodations, tech will be available to complete those responses.
Absolutely, as we're looking at written pieces in this case, if there is computer options as one of the accommodations on the IEP, technology will be available.
And is that on the same day, Reiko, in the same location as all other students when it comes to that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you for that. Who is responsible for providing the devices for students requiring accommodations, such as the typing? So where do they go for those devices?
So when we know students have requested accommodations, we have the IEP, we know that we need to provide computer options. That information will be provided to the school, so they will have rooms ready, generally with fewer students in them, and with the technology that will be required to support the applicants with the accommodations.
Okay, thank you for that. One thing, and we've heard questions about this, if a student is currently at, or if someone's a current TDSB student, they do not have to upload their report cards because that's already in the system and we have that.
Correct. And there will be an acknowledgement in the application that we will be accessing their achievement data from the 24-25 school year.
Okay. And then if someone attends a non-TDSB school where report cards don't have a letter grade or percentage, like part of that number system, how is that academic benchmark assessed? Is that something that we would look at?
So of course we will look at that. So applicants should just upload the report cards that they have. If further information is required, the Central Program Admissions Office will reach out to the applicant and their family, and if necessary, to the school that has generated the report card to make sure that we have a full understanding of the nature of the evaluation.
Okay. One person's asking, do the actual grades matter? For example, if you have a higher grade, you will be scored higher on the rubric. How does that work, Reiko?
So that will have nothing to do with the rubric. The rubric will be based in, that is only for the actual written piece, and we'll be speaking about that shortly. But for that 30%, the report card marks in those specific subject areas. So again, for the athletic leadership, that was language, physical education, and health education. Though the average of those 3 marks, that will make up 30% of your applicant score. If you did not do particularly well in geography, that's not going to impact your application score for the athletic leadership. But geography is part of the consideration for the other 2 leadership programs. So language, math, science, geography, history, those 5 marks are considered for the leadership programs at Ursula Franklin Academy and at R.H. King Academy, just because of the different nature of the focus of the programs.
Okay. Someone just wants some clarification. The example shown showed leadership program and athletic program. Does that mean we could choose leadership and MST as program type and prime choice for each group?
So math, science, and technology programs are another type of program altogether. If you're opting to apply for math, science, and technology, your primary and alternate choice with both have to be math, science, and technology. Under the umbrella of leadership, so the 3 programs that we've been talking about so far this afternoon, there are 2 under the umbrella of general leadership. So that's R.H. King Academy and Ursula Franklin Academy. And then Birchmount Park offers a leadership program, but its umbrella and its focus is on athletic leadership. So it has a different focus, but they are all leadership programs. So from those 3 choices, you can choose your primary, and if you're interested, an alternate choice.
Okay, thank you for that. We've had a couple of comments on this, and can you comment on why we can't apply to 2 different types of specialized programs, whether it's primary choice leadership and secondary choice is the IB program? Reiko, it's my understanding is just right now, timing wise, to get that up and running, it was decided that this year that would not be possible.
Yes, and also that we are looking at, we're no longer approaching the programs as what your diverse interests might be. Here we are looking at the strength of the application, and folks are looking to focus on the type of program that they are investing their interest in terms of attending for secondary school. So they need to choose one type of program and move forward with that application.
Okay, thank you for that. One person just clarifying, so if the second choice is accepted, but you still want to see if you get accepted by the primary choice, do you accept the secondary choice and you will still be waitlisted for the primary?
So if you accept your alternate choice, you will remain on the wait list for your primary choice. And if a seat becomes available, so if you're high on the wait list and you are seated in your primary choice, you will automatically be removed from your alternate choice and offered the seat that you will need to accept in your primary choice. If you
Okay.
don't really want to go to your alternate choice, A, don't include it, and B, I wouldn't accept it. There are other people who really want that.
Okay, perfect. And then I've just got a few more questions and we'll get back into our presentation. If my child was formerly a TDSB student but left for a couple of years, does the same student number apply? Do you know that one, Reiko?
Does. And if you know it and have it, you can include it, but if you have forgotten it, that's okay. You can apply as a non-TDSB student. You won't be required to provide the student number. In fact, you may not even be asked for the student number if you're not a current TDSB student.
Okay, thank you for that. Will students be provided with the rubric that they will be assessed on ahead of the demonstration of skills?
So for this particular demonstration of knowledge and skills, no, we will not be releasing the rubric because the rubric itself would really give away the questions themselves.
Okay.
Afterwards, the rubrics will be shared, but not beforehand, unfortunately.
Will
But
there be
again,
any
part of the point of this webinar is to provide the context of how to prepare and the key parts of the writing portions.
Okay, thank you. Will there be any practice questions or question help to help with the application or interview?
So there is no interview. And again, as we head into the second part of this webinar, my colleague Margaret Greenberg will be walking through some of the strategies and some of the ways that students can prepare. It's not so much that there are sample questions, but there are some general strategies on what to do beforehand and during the assessment.
Okay, and then one more before we get back to our presentation. Will students know if they screen in from the report card evaluation and get invited to the assessment?
So as the applications are imported and we have the ability to look at the report card achievement, if a student has not met the application benchmark, the family and the applicant will be notified that they have not met the benchmark and that they are unfortunately not eligible to attend the in-person demonstration of knowledge and skills. So there will be a communication to that.
Okay, perfect. And with that, we will take a brief break in questions and get back into our presentation. I'd like to introduce centrally assigned Principal Margaret Greenberg, who will be speaking to strategies for writing a leadership-focused reflection piece, and then other pieces of info and tips about the leadership program. Margaret, do you want to take it from here?
Thank you so much, Ryan. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all having a lovely evening. The portion of this webinar for us tonight is to discuss specifically the demonstration of knowledge and skills for the leadership programs. So for the next little bit, I'm just going to give you an overview about what you can do as a applicant or as a loved one or a caring family member of an applicant, how to approach the questions when you are in the assessment itself. I will include a sample question to give you a sense of what it will look like, and then some things that you might want to review while you're in the demonstration of knowledge and skills before you hand in your work for the assessment piece. So next slide, please. So as it was mentioned, you'll be asked to write 2 reflective responses as part of the demonstration of knowledge and skills. For the 2 reflection pieces. You will be given 60 minutes total. As it was mentioned earlier today, and as it's listed on the website, the questions will be centered around students' personal experiences and opinions around leadership qualities and civic mindedness. Off right out of the gate, some folks feel as though there's no way to prepare for something like this, but there are actually some wonderful strategies to help get you in the mindset and ready for the demonstration of knowledge and skills on the day. One of the recommendations that we do make for all applicants is that you take an opportunity to prepare a list of experiences that you had that might be good examples of where you might have either involved yourself in the community, in your home, in your school, and where you might have been able to demonstrate or grow some of those wonderful characteristics as a leader that you possess. We do encourage all of our candidates to make sure that they're thinking broadly when they're generating this list, because as we know, there are a lot of different opportunities to grow as a leader, and not all experiences look the same, but we do value each and every one of those experiences within that context. And variation is your friend. The more type of experiences you consider, the longer that list that you generate grows, the better chance that when you're sitting on the day writing about your reflections, and you'll be able to find one that's the best fit for the questions that are put in front of you on that day. Next slide, please. So to the point I made in the last slide, there are a variety of different opportunities for you to grow as a leader, and things that you might have done, which we would consider valuable experiences that help prepare you for the demonstration of knowledge and skills. Some examples of those leadership experiences might be things like volunteering in a community organization or event. So for example, something like cadets, helping to plan and execute a fun fair, volunteering at your local food bank, being part of a holiday toy drive, or being part of a team fundraiser would all be great examples of where you might have grown and worked as a team and developed some leadership characteristics. You could also have taken part in a club or a group at school. It could be outside of school in a place of worship or spiritual center. And again, the context for this, as well as the types of experiences, can be varied. So it'd be anything from being a reading bunny at your school to being part of an affinity group like a Black Student Association or Muslim Student Association. You may be part of a youth group outside of school. You might have been an ambassador for either school or part of a club or team. Or be on something like school council or athletic council. There could be an extension of involvement in the community, for example, helping in ceremonies, making regalia, participating in powwows. And if we move on to the next slide, we'll continue with some of the neighborhood or community experiences. So you could, for example, help your community towards a common goal, like a community cleanup or eco day. You might be part of a revitalization advisory committee, or you might engage in practices like harvesting. Being involved in sports teams and extracurricular clubs. Again, this could be a variety of different types, everything from cricket to soccer, choir, dance, drama, the chess club, Dungeons and Dragons. All of these are part of a commitment that involves growing your leadership skills and working in a group. Or you might be involved in taking a personal initiative to support a cause, for example, something like the Terry Fox Run or the CN Tower Climb Up events. Next slide, please. So I'd like to share a sample question. Again, I want to reiterate that this is not going to be one of the questions on the assessment, but it's of the same style and same type. There is a prompt in this case. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Then we'll be following with some specific questions that we're going to ask the writer to please share with us. So please share a time where you are inspired by the actions of someone else. How did their actions influence you as a leader? What did you learn about yourself? How has this changed how you led in your everyday life? And please provide specific examples. Next slide, please. So what we would recommend is that when you are coming into the demonstration of knowledge and skills on the day, that you take your time and you are considering the whole of the assessment, including an opportunity for you to outline your thoughts before you begin writing, as well as an opportunity for you to save yourself some time at the end to go back and review everything. Now, every single person is comfortable with a different allocation of time, but I would suggest that at least 5 minutes be allocated at the beginning as well as at the end to give yourselves the opportunity to make sure that you're giving us your best representation of your thoughts, as well as making sure that your writing is clear and is communicating exactly what you want to communicate to your reader. When you come on in, be sure to check to make sure you're using the designated area in your booklet. There will be designated spaces for both rough work, like an outline, as well as an area designated for the formal writing piece. Please make sure that you read the question carefully and highlight key ideas and prompts. So in the previous example that I gave, there were 4 specific questions that were being asked of the writer. So please make sure that you're going through and you're very clear as to what is being asked of you, so that you can consider which of your experiences best work to answer the question. And remember, you've generated all of those experiences in advance of your arrival on the day, so that it will give you a greater opportunity to be able to match up what you've already considered in terms of your experiences and your characteristics with the type of question that's being asked. Please use the rough workspace to create your outline and organize your thoughts, and make sure that you have examples that support your answers. We're really interested in your personal experiences, and every single one of them is a bit different. Every single one of them has impacted you in a different way. So it's very important to us that you make sure that you have those examples and that they are clearly articulated in your outline. So when you decide to move on to your writing piece, you have everything structured in a way that allows you to show us your best self. Next slide, please. So once you are done your outline, you can move on to the writing and review portions. So please make sure before you start that you're writing carefully, legibly, and that you are organized. It is particularly important, because this is a handwritten assessment, that you are taking the time to make sure that things are clear, because we want to read all of those great things that you're telling us. Make sure that you're writing in the designated area of your booklet. Stick to the outline that you have already summarized, because it's very easy to get caught up in the writing process, but taking your time and following your plan is the best way to communicate your ideas to your reader. As I said before, make sure you're printing clearly. I know, especially as we get into the writing, things tend to get a little messier, but we really do want to be able to read everything you've written us. And please give yourself time at the end to thoroughly review your work. Next slide, please. So we have a little checklist for you while you are finishing up and you're ready to hand in your work at the end of the demonstration of knowledge and skills. We want you to make sure that you're going through our mental checklist. So make sure that you are checking and asking yourself these questions. Did I answer all of the parts of the question that was asked of me? Did I give examples to support my answers? Did I make connections to my own leadership characteristics? And did I share my own learning, growth, and reflection in my answers? As far as the mechanics go, again, I do want to remind people that that checklist of did I write clearly and legibly so someone else could read my writing, and is my response written in the correct section of the assessment, are both great things to check before, during, and after you are completing your writing piece. Next slide, please. At this point, you had successfully completed your reflection writing and will have handed it in to your assessor. And that would be the conclusion to your demonstration of knowledge and skills. We would then take the opportunity to provide the assessors with the rubrics so that they could be vetted and scored by 3 different assessors, and then ultimately used as the 70% of your score. That would be the total whole of your applicant score value. I open up the floor now for questions.
That's perfect. Thank you, Margaret. Again, if you'd like to if you'd like to ask any questions, please use the Q&A feature at the top of your screen. We'll get to as many of those as possible, just looking to our document right now. I know people are going through answering those questions via text as well, and then we'll answer some out loud. Again, if you have any questions, just enter them into the Q&A feature at the top of your screen. Perhaps Margaret did such an amazing job. And we do have a question. So apparently not. Can I make it so they see my report 1 instead of report 2 since I got better marks on report 1? How does that work, Margaret?
So I actually think that may be a Reiko Fuentes question. Are we referring to report card marks?
I believe so. Reiko, how would
Okay.
do you know the answer to that one as far as just to repeat that, can I make it so they see my report 1 instead of report 2 since I got better marks on report 1?
So we are working consistently with all applicants that where the data exists in report 2. So for June, which has covered a larger portion of the year and of the curriculum, that is the mark that will be used. And only in the cases where a particular subject may not have been assessed in June would we go back to the February mark.
Okay, thank you for that. Next up, how do we know which schools are accepting grade 10 students? I believe, Reiko, like I know art schools, I believe all art schools accept a grade 10, but is there an indicator on that?
So there, the 3 leadership programs have limited seats available for grade 10 entry. Ursula Franklin Academy, which is fully based on this application process as they go from grade 9 to grade 10 because class caps change. They will have an automatic number of seats that are available in grade 10. But for RH King Academy and Birchmount, spaces being available will be based on students who have withdrawn or left the program, moved away to another city, and those scenarios. So that will be a limited number of seats.
Okay. This person is asking, during the in-person assessment, would it be allowed to bring in a paper with some of the things said in the slideshow, such as the list of experiences or the checklist? Is that something that we would permit as part of that?
So unfortunately not. You cannot, you should be thinking about these questions and then that is the best way to help prepare. But you cannot bring any previously prepared materials or papers into the in-person assessment.
Okay, thank you for that. One of clarification, for the entire assessment, is there 1 full exam and 2 questions, or is it just the 2 questions?
The exam is 2 questions.
Okay, so 2 questions make up the exam.
That was
okay.
my grammar right there.
I think it works. I think it works. Is there a minimum weighted grade, the 30/70, to make it on the wait list at all? Is there anything on that front?
That will all be dependent on the other applicants. So everyone will have their applicant score calculated again using their report card achievement for 30% and their achievement on the demonstration of knowledge and skills. And students will be sorted and ranked based on their applicant score. So I can't say what the mark will be. It just depends on the applicant pool.
Just back to the questions, Reiko, will both questions be provided at the beginning of the assessment?
Yes.
Yeah,
Applicants will get the full the full package right when they begin.
Okay, thank you. An accommodation question. Can a student with accommodations use paper to organize their thoughts and then do the good copy using the tech accommodation? Is that something that can be done?
I think that the question itself will come on paper and there is blank space for rough work. I don't think that it would be an expectation that all of the rough work would have to be done on the computer. I think that's going to be an accommodation should accommodate the student and how they're going to work best.
Okay. Margaret, I'm going to come to you for this one. Do we need to provide a portfolio including our experiences on leadership?
No, so the demonstration of knowledge and skills is exactly 2 questions written within the 60-minute time period. So there is no additional portfolio or submission work that needs to be done outside of the application through PowerSchool. Everything else is done on the day. And in fact, we ask that you don't bring any other materials in. And so you will do everything that you need to do within the time frame allotted to you on that day.
Okay, perfect.
And if I can add, the questions really are the opportunity to highlight that leadership portfolio that is in here of your experiences. This is the time to bring it to life in your written responses to the 2 questions.
Perfect. If a student answers questions with a list of bullet points, but the answers don't present artistic writing skills, will this affect the rating of the answer?
The intent of the written responses is to assess students' leadership skills, civic mindedness, contributions in community. It is not a assessment of their writing form or flair, and we are not assessing artistic interests. So the only thing I will say is please, again, the emphasis of making sure that the reader is able to read the things that you put there, making sure it's nice and legible, because that is what we want to see. We just want to make sure that we're capturing everything that we know you have inside.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Margaret. Since a unique one here, and our school uses a report card with a level 1 through 4 ranking. This person's understanding is that the school will provide clarity on the equivalent percentage band. For example, a 4 equals a 90 to 100. Will this grade band work against children in the 30% report card scoring? For example, if it's a 90 to 100%, would we end up using the bottom end of that numerical range if a child was on the higher end? How does that work? Do we have something, is that too unique right now to really provide a general answer to, or is that something that we have an answer?
I mean, that's a very specific question.
Yeah.
In terms of the first steps and process, upload the report card into the application. If your school has provided you with that translation or interpretation of the 4 levels, that can be included as part of the report card. And the Central Program Admissions Office will be looking to deal with these unique alternate forms of report cards in a very consistent fashion.
Okay, thank you. This one comes to tech accommodations. Can anyone request that tech accommodation, Reiko, or is it only people with a an IEP on file?
For students who have a formal individual education plan where the accommodation is listed.
Okay, thank you. Next person saying, if I apply for 2 leadership programs, will I be able to do an out of area 2 for a non-specialized program?
Yes. I think we started with that question earlier. Yes.
Yes,
And it
okay.
can be to the same school if the school is accepting applications to out of area admissions.
Okay, that is great. Again, if you have your questions, please enter them into the Q&A feature at the top of your screen, where I know we're madly typing away in that chat, the Q&A feature, also trying to answer some of the more common questions that are being asked and try to answer individual ones directly, just looking to our question sheet. What if there is an accommodation for notes or supports for writing in the IEP? Will this be supported? If so, what would that look like?
So I went through in the earlier presentation listing what the accommodations are that are appropriate for the type of assessment that this is. Generally, when a student is accommodated with notes, that would be, say, an equation sheet, where part of their recognized exceptionality is a struggle in memorizing or knowing specific equations. And so they would be provided with the notes to have a sheet to support them on using those equations on their form of evaluation. For the type of assessment that we have here, having those notes is not one of the accommodations that is designed to accommodate this type of assessment.
Okay. Reiko, I think there's a clarification more on the application process writ large. When applying on the 24th, this person just clarifying what they are to do. They know that it's based on MARC eligibility, but do we have to write a written piece or anything when applying at the time? I don't believe it's required when you're applying. Obviously, there will be the exam of the 2 questions that will be part of that eventually.
On December the 15th, that's correct.
Okay, perfect. Next up, if the program has a cap and multiple students are tied, how do you decide who is accepted?
So we're getting into the math questions. So PowerSchool will calculate the averages of the report card achievement to make up the 30%. It will calculate the average of the 3 assessments of the written assessments that will be completed in person and calculate that average. All of that will be done to 2 decimal places, and working out their applicant score again will be to 2 decimal places. And if we should happen to have a tie again to 2 decimal places, those applicants, so again, if you had 3 students that had the exact same score, would be seated and ranked randomly. We do have the ability, and we will do this as we go through the process. I do have the ability to crank it up to 3 decimal places. So if we find that we are in a scenario where we are finding several ties, we can look to change the decimal places to have, again, greater accuracy in the ranking.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Reiko. Ursula Franklin Academy may receive over 1,000 applications. Are there limited spots to do the assessment? Can the school accommodate all applicants?
So we will, again, any applicant who meets the benchmark eligibility is eligible to participate in that in-person demonstration of knowledge and skills. We may have to look at an alternate site to support some of our participants. It is attached to the larger School of Western Technical Commercial School, and if necessary, we will look to expand to make sure that we have enough spaces to accommodate, and we will know our number of applicants prior to December the 15th.
Okay. Does it help to add reference letters with the application? Is that something that should be added? I don't believe so.
They can't be added. There's no place to upload reference letters, and that's not part of the consideration here.
Okay. Reiko, we're receiving a number of questions as far as will there be any sort of balance in gender at all as part of this process? And my understanding is it is purely based on that demonstration of skill and knowledge, plus the marks is just purely focusing on that. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. How many people are assessing the written demonstration of knowledge?
Overall, dozens and dozens.
Yeah.
But each individual piece will be assessed by 3 subject qualified teachers.
Okay, and we've spoken to this question before in the past as well. There's training involved because the whole idea is that while you may have dozens of people involved, there's training that we do so that we are being as consistent as possible across all of those, right?
That was exactly what I was going to add on there, Ryan. You're a mind reader. Yes, so all of the assessors will go through a training session where we will look to do moderated marking to know how to apply the rubric. Again, so that we have consistency and that there is that deeper understanding of how to apply the rubric to the actual written pieces.
Okay. And we are really coming closer to the end of our questions, unless anyone else has any questions to ask in the Q&A feature of your team's software there. You can click it at the top and ask your question. We will try to get to it as quickly as possible. Reiko, when it comes to the assessments, the other thing, and I think you mentioned this off the top, but just to clarify, a math teacher is not necessarily assessing visual arts. A visual arts teacher is not necessarily analyzing that kind of thing. So it is teachers within that area of specialty that will then be assessing the demonstration of skill or knowledge.
Yes. And again, as we are working on the written pieces, we're looking at subject qualifications like English and guidance, the social sciences for the athletic leadership program, health and physical education. So again, related to the area of focus of the programs.
Okay, got a couple more questions, and I think we may be close to the end. Is grammar and spelling part of the evaluation rubric, or is it based only on the leadership content?
Great question. So the answer is that what we are looking for is the leadership content. That being said, of course, making sure that capitalizations, full stops, those things that allow us to follow the written piece so that it's not interfering with the message is always useful, but there is no specific requirement for students to be assessed on spelling and grammar.
Okay.
And Ryan, if I can just add one piece as well about the expectations for the written pieces. I know one of the questions that was asked earlier was about sort of simply adding nuggets and individual thoughts as opposed to a written passage. There is an expectation that there is, again, cohesive writing where large ideas are being communicated. It's not simply a list of here are the things that I've done. So there is that expectation that we have something similar to a paragraph format in making points. So just to clarify that.
Okay, thank you for that. So will the same 2 questions be asked for all leadership programs, or does that vary?
Sorry, one more time?
Will the same 2 questions be asked for all leadership
Yes.
programs? Okay.
And they're general, and they can have a different focus depending on the school that you are applying to.
Okay. Is the Margaret, I'll come to you for this one. Is the written piece meant to be an essay or a summary, or is it writer's choice?
So exactly as I mentioned before in the overview, it is meant to respond to the specific questions and allow students to demonstrate their leadership skills and experiences. So it is not intended to be a lengthy essay. It is meant to be a written response. So it should respond to the questions that have been posed, and there should be examples supporting those questions. Beyond that, the format is writer's choice.
Okay, thank you for that. And then finally, does the school know if a student meets the benchmark when they go for the exam? What if a child does not meet the benchmark, shows up for the exam? Reiko, I believe they're notified prior to that?
We will be notifying applicants as soon as we've processed their application. That's the first thing that will be flagged as the report card data is extracted and matched. If an applicant has not met the eligibility requirements, they will be notified as quickly as possible.
And would that typically come before the exam?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
If they submit their application at noon on the 12th, it could technically be the Monday that happens in terms of the processing time. But for the app, again, it will be as soon as possible after the submission.
Okay, that's great. Before we wrap up, Reiko, I just want to double check or just maybe repeat some of the high level pieces. The best resource right now, the website, tdsb.on.ca/specialized programs. What can people find there? And that's where we're posting all of the information, including do you want to mention the Q&A?
Sure. So we already have a lengthy Q&A document that's there. Again, it covers a variety of areas, not only the leadership program and the specialized program application, but it also touches on elementary programs, out of area admission, the secondary schools without a boundary, lots of things about the 8 to 9 transition in general. And we will be adding some of the questions that came through tonight to that document. And again, I would use the Control F find and look for keywords to work your way through that document. A recording of this presentation as well as a copy of the slides will be posted. Yesterday we did a similar presentation for the arts. That video and slide deck have already been added. As well, there is a set of instructions for walking through the instruction, and a video version of that will be produced shortly and will be posted next week as well.
It really does have some fantastic information. Also, it does have the email address. If you have any questions after all of this, again, there's a lot of information in there, but if you can't find anything, there are email contacts on that page should you have any questions, and we'll try to answer them as best as possible. Just before we go, I do have a couple of last questions that did come in, so we might as well try to get to as many of those as possible. Even if the writing style is up to the writer, what would be the expected or preferred writing style? Margaret, is there really a preferred one, or really it truly is writer's choice and it's up to them?
Our preference is that you make sure that the questions that have been posed have been answered, and that you're providing examples that come from your own experiences. There will be no advantage or disadvantage to a certain paragraph style versus more of a free writing, as long as it is communicated and the questions that we ask are being answered. I'm happy to share that there is opportunity for variation. We're looking for those core characteristics, not a specific writing style.
What advice do you have on the length of a response? Again, there's just a lot of questions coming in on that. Again, it really is as long as you get your thoughts across. Does it really matter?
Well, I will say the one thing is, please do not write beyond the amount that we have given you. So there are specific pages, they're ruled pages. If you do write on, the backs of other provided, the cover of the booklet, we won't be able to assess that. So my preference is that it stays within the amount that we've given you. But the reality is, as I showed on the slide before, there are really about 3 or 4 specific questions or prompts, and there should be examples to each one, and they should be drawn from personal experiences. As long as those are contained within, we are extremely pleased. That is what we're looking for.
Okay, just a couple more questions and then we will wrap up. Someone asking, I believe you mentioned students will not be given the rubric the day of writing. However, if students do not see the rubric, will it be shown after the fact? Will students receive some feedback as a chance to reflect for future applications?
Applicants will not receive their own rubrics and their scores. They will know in the results whether or not they've been seated or where they are on the wait list. So they'll have some sense of how they achieved relative to others, but that specific score will not be provided to applicants. In terms of the rubric being shared, we do have an alternate date that we need to be aware of, so that there are some limitations around the sharing of the rubric.
Okay, and when it comes to leadership programs, are they only available at the 3 locations or are there other schools in the TDSB? Can students apply for leadership programs in 10th or 11th grade as well? Is that possible?
So again, these are the 3 specialized programs recognized by the TDSB that are available to take applications from across the system. There is, as we've mentioned earlier, grade 10 entry, limited grade 10 entry. The specialized programs do not have grade 11 entry, as the majority of the building courses, if you will, take place in grade 9 and grade 10. There are schools that run local leadership programs, so where they serve their local community, they have a focus on building leadership within the school. And again, when you go to your designated school by addresses open house, and those will continue on until January to learn more about the opportunities that exist in your local school. You may be very surprised about the leadership opportunities that are offered locally, and students are always able to participate in those.
That's great. One last one I'm going to squeeze in. Margaret, do you know offhand how many pages are allotted for these responses? I know you talked about we're providing a number of sheets. Do you know offhand how many we are providing students?
So we're still working on the sizing of the rule.
Okay.
I don't want to give a definitive amount at this point. But
Completely
what I will
fair.
say is that it will be sufficient for students to be able to write these 2 responses within the 60 minutes. We are very much striving to ensure that they have sufficient time for everyone involved.
That's great. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of you for joining us this evening for all the questions. As you'll see, we tried to get to as many questions as possible. Again, just to repeat that website, and it's on the screen, tdsb.on.ca/specialized programs. There are Q's and A's, information, application process questions, emails for more information that you can contact should this not do it. Again, this video will be posted as soon as possible, as were previous ones. If for some reason you missed portion of it or want to come back to it or weren't able to make it, this will be posted online. There's a wealth of information on there that will answer a number of your questions. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. My sincere thanks to the people that you see on the screen and those that you do not see, answering all of your questions this evening and for making tonight possible. Thank you so much and have a great night.